What is up, ball bags? JJ back here, Run Pure Bets. Another live MLB show or preview, if you will, for you people that need to be exactly correct about everything. Good stuff yesterday, right? We had a nice win with the Nats. Now, I know that I said in the video that I thought the line would shut down and then reopen again, and it did. It reopened at 120, at least at DraftKings minus 120, excuse me. And overall, I mean, I told you guys I liked first five. If you could get it, you could have laid the half run. I guess that's good dog money. You could have just taken first five at like minus 120, minus 125, or you could have bet on DraftKings at plus 110 the night before, like I did. And then, I told you, I kind of felt it was a free roll, right? I mean, overall, you were getting dog money on a play that it was very unlikely things were going to go reverse for the Nats, right? Because the Cubs were going to completely clean house. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't expect, Lester and Trevor Williams to get traded. But it goes back to the point of, if that hypothetically happened, look what the Cubs did. The Cubs slotted in Jake Arrieta to return, and obviously he's nowhere near what he used to be. And Lester going out, it actually meant Espinino pitching, and that was a better arm in my opinion anyway. So overall, I just liked the spot at dog money. And again, you're always consistently looking for value. Nats could have lost there, but again, the idea for me from the beginning was the Nats should be favored in that game. When you either DraftKings shouldn't have hung a line for that game, or the Nats should not have been a 110 underdog. And you kind of just saw it played out that way, which is good. But so it moves those plays back up to over 10 units. I think 23 and 12 plus 10.2. And then we got a good slate today, right? Overall, another day where the Major League Baseball waits until 3:00 for one game, and then only 2 4:00 games, and they load up at night on a night that has a UFC card. And I guess I just consistently don't understand why the scheduling looks like this. There should be more day games for Saturdays, but again, I'll sound like a broken record if I keep going on like that. Roll care, Jackie, Adam, what's going on? How is everybody? Okay, so we'll start with obviously the first game, right? Jays, Orioles. Alex Manoah, Mike Minor. So Mike Minor is every ounce of his 5.32 surface ERA. And I often say surface because that's all ERA is, right? It's a surface statistic. So it should be weighted lightly. There's just other numbers that you can better predict folks' ERAs or what their ERAs should be. Mike Minor, though, has struggled severely this season. And, he's been a bit of a journeyman in his career, obviously a left-hander. And he's had some highs and lows. His highs have never really been that high, and his lows have been pretty low. This year in particular, though, has been probably career worst for him as he continues to struggle to find any consistency in starts. Even in starts, he has a few good innings. The blow-up inning comes. Likely today, he will struggle, at least to get outs. Now, granted, we know in these scenarios, right, line drives can find gloves and sure. Overall, though, I'm not as big a fan. I always consistently say this. I don't like taking home teams. You're looking at 250 here in favor of the Jays, and their team total is 5.5. So you basically need 6 runs in 8 innings. You can get 6 runs in 1 inning from Minor, but you will not be profitable long term. Betting team totals over 5.5 in an MLB season. Now, I'd make the counter argument. You'd probably be profitable long term going the other way, just consistently betting if you see 5.5 numbers or greater, just consistently betting those team totals under or waiting till the last minute to get at least the best price on them. However, this is not a spot I really want to jump in front of in either way or in favor of the Blue Jays, whether they score 6 runs or they don't score 6 runs. I do a very strong lean, though, in favor of the Royals, whose team total currently sits at 3.5. Now, Alex Manoah has been very good this season, but a bit of regression will be coming for him. Now, will come in this start. I don't know specifically. He does struggle with lefties, and the Royals most certainly will not put pressure on opposing arms from the left side of the plate. Carlos Santana, maybe. Benintendi's, definitely not what he used to be. And then, you look at guys like Ryan O'Hearn and Jared Dyson and Nicky Lopez. I mean, these are not guys that really put a lot of pressure on you. Sure, O'Hearn's got pop, but he's very good against right-handed bats, as in Manoah. So It is a strong lean for me over 3.5 because I feel like it's a soft number in this park. And you're going to get 9 at-bats, and the Royals are swinging the sticks kind of well. I know yesterday they were 0 for 8 runners in scoring position, but I'd expect that to kind of median out a bit. They will have opportunities to score today, and 3.5 runs seems soft. So yeah, call it a strong lean in this spot. I like the 3.5 team total for the Royals. Again, not a best bet, not a bet I'm going to be making, but I always try to give you guys perspective. Giants Astros at 4 o'clock. Alex Wood, Zach Greinke. So this is a line I feel is a little bit off. I like the Astros here. I know that the Giants are getting love. I know the Giants just got Chris Bryant. And I know the Giants, you could argue, I guess, have a better pitching matchup. I think Alex Wood has been borderline smoke and mirrors this year. He's been good. But, man, I mean, he has been also quite fortunate as well. Zach Greinke is just doing what Zach Greinke does, right? He just grinds out outs. I think he throws like a 64-mile-an-hour curveball, which is just incredible that he's able to get outs with that pitch. But all things considered, I don't – this happened to me. So this happened this week, actually, when I bet the Astros against the Mariners, where the Astros weren't getting love. Like the Mariners were getting love in a spot against Yusei Kikuchi, and the Astros were lined at -112 with Odorizzi going. To me, this is very similar to this spot here. Why the Giants are getting a lot of love in this spot with this line. I mean, look, I get it. The Giants have had a great year, right? Sure. But, I mean, all things considered, the Astros should not be a small dog here. The Astros should be favored in almost every pitching matchup when they play the Giants. I know that, like, Kevin Gausman yesterday went, and you saw what the Astros did to him. Now, Alex Wood, sure, is a different look than Gausman, right? But, I mean, man, this team mashes, and they're in the middle of a mashing streak, and I know they've won a few in a row. But to me, this is just a pure line play. For me, I don't know how or why you would lay 115 with the Giants here. Again, I get it. They have Chris Bryant now, which makes a difference, but this is just lined wrong to me. So, yeah, I small lean the Astros. The reason why I'm not betting the game is because, look, from a ball club perspective, right, you get a guy like Chris Bryant, it could motivate a home team or a ball club in a positive manner. I know they lost yesterday, but they will have Bryant in the lineup today, very likely. And, again, maybe that adds a different amount of energy to this team. Astros have been just hitting. I mean, Altuve had 2 homers yesterday, and this team up and down has no easy outs. And, you get Greinke in the National League ballpark, and one of the best pitcher ballparks in all of baseball. And let's be honest, he's no stranger to this Giants team, right? So, overall, or the NL West for that matter. So overall, I do lean the Stros here at the +100 price tag I'm seeing. Angels Athletics, Jamie Barria, Cole Irvin. Cole Irvin's been fantastic this season. Barria has been quite the opposite. And what's interesting with Barria is he's getting hit up in AAA, and he was an arm a few years back that had some potential. I know he was in their starting rotation for quite a bit of the season a few years back. He's been a different pitcher this year, though. And look, you draw Oakland sticks with a ton of right-handed bats, and Barria's been really struggling with both sides of the plate anyway. Maybe he begins to progress to the mean a bit. I mean, his numbers don't suggest he should have an ERA this high. But again, he hasn't been good. And Cole Irvin's been much better than his 7-9 record says. And he just gets outs. Now, I know that the Angels are good against lefties, and that could pose a bit of an issue here. I will not bet a total over 10 in this ballpark, though. So you can rule that right out. But yeah, small lean in favor of the A's here. Maybe you light a half run first 5. I just think Irvin is so much of a better pitcher than Barria on many levels. And I think that the price is a bit high. But you can wiggle that down to basically -105-ish if you lay a half run first 5. I don't love this bet at all, and I don't even call this a small lean. This would be like the slightest of leans in favor of the Athletics. But again, that has more to do with I just think this pitching matchup is a lot different, or has a lot more disparity than this line indicates. So overall, call it very, very slight lean. Lay the half run first 5 A's. Tigers, Orioles. So Matt Manning, John Means. So Matt Manning had a decent start his last time out. I think he played Texas his last start. I think. Let me confirm that. And he pitched well, or was that the start before? That was the start before. So and then he actually got ripped up by the Twins in his last start. Manning's just not a good arm. I mean, granted, even when he gets outs, he is a tough pitcher to watch. He also can get himself bailed out with double play balls. But yeah, I mean, he is well deserving of his ERA. He draws John Means here. My issue with Means is more of I have not liked what I've seen from him thus far. I know he pitched well, or well for a few innings at least in his last start, but then ended up I think giving up a pretty big home run. He's just giving up a lot of hard contact since his return, and sure that might as he gets more into the flow of things, you might look at this line and think that this is a fair price for John Means, right? But you're not getting the John Means you were getting earlier in the year in this price. So that makes it difficult. And then look, you got a total of 9.5 in this in Comerica Park, which is a high total for this park. I mean, this is by no means a hitter's park, but it's also by no means a pitcher's park. It's somewhere in between. And this is just a big number to want to back. So overall, I will stay away from this game entirely. I just got a bunch of things going in different directions. But look, like I said, if you like the over, do realize you are betting an over at a number that's quite the ceiling for this park, and it could hit. But you will not make money betting numbers betting over 9.5 in this park all season long. So again, just a little perspective there, but we'll move on. Rays, Red Sox, Ryan Yarbrough, Nathan Eovaldi. Those should know by now. These are two pitchers I do not like. These are two pitchers I personally cannot trust. I'm not a Yarbrough guy. First of all, I mean, look, kudos to him. He throws an 86-mile-an-hour fastball, and he still consistently finds ways to get outs. He throws a lot of junk, a lot of off-speed stuff. But again, he's pretty reliant on location. If he's walking guys, it's a problem for him because he's not going to get a whole lot of strikeouts. He can, but he's not going to most often. Nathan Eovaldi, of course, the flamethrower. I've just, look, I've always felt Evaldi's been a guy that could have been so much more. And again, he overthrows his fastball and it bails him out from time to time. He can hit up 100 on the gun at times. Here, look, for me, a small lean first 5 over. It's probably 4.5-ish. Again, that has more to do with the Red Sox. You often can just eat up left-handed pitching. Yarbrough is a different type of left-hander, though, as again, he throws a lot of off-speed stuff. So he can be a bit of a change of pace arm, especially when you combine him with McClanahan for the Rays. But, I think, first of all, he's susceptible. And Nathan Eovaldi, you look at this Rays team and how they can hit right-handers. Eovaldi's susceptible in this spot as well. I know this total is about where you'd consider a somewhat high total for this park in Tampa. This is by no means a ceiling number for this park, so called the smallest or a small lean, if you will. I like the first 5 over. Again, slightly, not enough for me to want to pull the trigger on it. If this became 4, I'd like it more. Like if this total somehow moved to 8 and I can get 4 at like minus 120, probably like that more for a little extra protection. But at 4.5, not in love. But overall, yeah, I just think that, like I said, you look at the potency of these lineups, and these arms are extremely susceptible. This line seems very math related or calculated, but overall, I lean the first 5 over. Marlins Yanks. So we don't know who's going for the Marlins. We know Domingo Germán's going for the Yanks. Look, nice to see Rizzo, right? Bomb first game as a Yank. This Yankees lineup looks extremely potent now. I know it's a bunch of guys that hit for low average and power, right? And come postseason, that's likely to be a problem against good pitching. But look, for folks that don't agree with the trades they made, I mean, think about it. You replaced Joey Gallo with Brett Gardner. I mean, you replaced Brett Gardner with Joey Gallo, who I didn't also realize how good Joey Gallo was in the field. I mean, you know about his stick and the home runs, but I didn't realize how much of a defensive increase he is for a team like the Yankees versus Brett Gardner. So again, everybody always looks at like when teams go for big players, like, oh, you need this big player. You need to look at it from a perspective of who is that player going to replace. And Joey Gallo is going to replace Brett Gardner and maybe even Greg Allen for most of the season. And yeah, I mean, that's night day, right? And then Anthony Rizzo. So Rizzo's a bit of a complication, which was an interesting call for me or to see, because I guess Rizzo coming aboard removes Odor, I guess, to a certain extent, right? Because you probably move LeMahieu back to second for most games, and then Torres goes back to short, and then you have what's his name? I can't think of the third baseman's name. But you have basically you solidify that infield, and I guess against right-handers you can you can maybe, give LeMahieu a day off, and against lefties, you can always give Odor the day off. But Gio or Urshela, but he might be hurt again. Either way, it gives the Yankees a lot of flexibility with their lineup day in and day out, and they now really have no longer have easy outs, at least easy outs from a power perspective. Means pitchers can't make mistakes against anybody in this lineup anymore. So overall, I liked the moves they made. I know I'm going a little tangent there, but I liked the moves they made. I can't really cap this game because I have no idea who's pitching for the Marlins. So it makes it difficult in that respect. But Herman's slowly getting into form, and overall, he should pitch well here. Big Pitchers Park, National League. You'd expect him to throw well, but again, as far as how the line goes, it matters who's pitching for the Marlins. And right now, I don't have that information. All right, so we'll slide over to the 7 o'clock games. I'll say a quick hello to some folks. So what's up, Walla, Kyle, Pat, Jackie, always much respect. Greg as well. What's going on, guys? Saw wood chipper yesterday and couldn't stop by. Yeah, wood chippers, Pat. Nothing to really screw around with. I'm not sure how much familiarity you guys have with wood chippers, but I mean, they can do some damage, especially if you accidentally get a hand in there or anything. But okay, so overall, we'll slide over to the 7 o'clock games. You didn't think it'd be a 12 o'clock show without some macchiato love, did you? All right, so 7 o'clock games. By the way, my best bet's coming. Actually, it's not coming for a few games. All right, so Nationals, Cubs. Like I said yesterday, it was nice to grab a win with the Nats. This line is interesting, though. Very, very interesting. So we don't know who's going for the Nationals. And we know the Cubs aren't really going to try to win ball games. That does not mean Kyle Hendricks is not a good pitcher. So this is interesting to me on quite a few counts. I don't, quite frankly, understand this line. But I will be honest, I like the under first 5 more. Again, I don't know who's going to pitch for the Nats. I would assume it could be the kid they got from the Dodgers. Could be. But, again, I'm not 100% sure there. So it could be a bullpen day. It could be the kid they got from the Dodgers. If it's the kid they got from the Dodgers, he's not bad by any means. And I think that the Cubs lineup is completely watered down now. We know the Nats lineup is. I don't know how the Nats – well, I mean, Hendricks would have to pitch a really bad game here for the Nats to find consistency against him. So without lines being in the mix here, I'd assume the Nats team totals 4. I would like that under if you find 4. Again, Hendricks is a tough pitcher to go up against. The Cubs did not use their best bullpen arms yesterday. Not that they have these excellent bullpen arms anymore because of the guys they gave up, but they still have some relatively decent guys. And again, the Nats used their best bullpen arms yesterday, whatever that means. So overall, to me, I don't understand. So I look at a line with the Cubs at plus 104, and I know that I liked the Nats yesterday, but again, it's all relative to pitching matchups and such. I don't know who the Nats are going to throw out here, but whoever they throw out is not going to be better than Kyle Hendricks. So maybe first 5 in favor of the Cubs, or first 5 under, or Nats team total under 4 if you have that. Those would be looks I'd target for this game, again, without knowing who the Nats pitcher is. All right, so next game. Pirates, Phils. So the Pirates absolutely jumped all over the Phillies yesterday with some big, decent-sized scoring outputs of 7 runs. Some of it was self-inflicted, right? I think Bryce Harper had a really head-scratching error in the outfield yesterday. But needless to say, win's a win, and they got 7 runs. Pittsburgh hasn't been scoring, so that kind of came out of nowhere. And I know this lineup is relatively poor, obviously with no Frazier, right? But they still have decent guys, Brian Hayes, Brian Reynolds, Colin Moran, I think is still on this team. I don't think he was traded. So again, Polanco, bats that have some level of life, but again, nothing that really scares you all that much. Aaron Nola is a tremendous arm, and I know that his ERA doesn't necessarily say so right now, but this you would figure expects to be tough sledding for Pittsburgh to score runs here. Now, of course, it can happen, but this total has now dipped to 7.5, which is where it probably should have been from the beginning. I know it opened 8.5, and I'm not sure how realistic that line was, though, from what I'm seeing. This is a spot I really don't want to target. I think Pittsburgh likely struggles to score runs here, but I will not bet their team total under at 3, and especially after how they were hitting yesterday. And Philly at 160, I guess, makes sense, but Brubaker's good. I mean, Brubaker is a good arm. He just for whatever reason, I can't get him right. So I'm going to stay away from this game entirely. But again, I'll give you a little perspective on both sides. Rangers, Mariners. So Taylor Hearn and Tyler Anderson. Speaking of the Pirates, Tyler Anderson makes his start here for the first time for the Seattle Mariners. Lefty, wasn't great in the National League, but does draw a team here that struggles to hit left-handed pitching and is a bit of a watered-down lineup as well. There was a lot of runs yesterday in this game between these two. It would be tough to imagine that gets replicated again, but it certainly could. The Mariners are hitting, though, so it is tough not to like the way this team's sticks are going. Taylor Hearn doesn't have a whole lot of major league experience. However, this year, not bad. He does get roped against right-handed bats, though. Lefties, he's much better. OPS of 463 versus lefties is actually really incredible. A small sample size, though, 62 at bats, but against righties, the sample size is much larger and it's much worse. The Mariners certainly have enough right-handed bats to cause him some issues here. And again, Tyler Anderson's by no means great himself. This total at 8.5 is somewhat low, all things considered. But again, you're in a ballpark that doesn't exactly produce runs, and you have lineups that are somewhat watered down as well. I will stay away from this game entirely, but call it a first five lean in favor of the Mariners. I don't often like targeting pitchers, though, on their first start for new teams. I just feel like there's a little added pressure there that I don't like to really mess with. And now he's going from the National League to the American League, which is another added element. No more free outs, if you will. So I will stay away from this game. But again, I could see points for both sides with the way the line currently sits. Mets, Reds, Rich Hill, Wade Miley. Rich Hill threw a pretty decent start his first time out for the Mets. Now comes back and sees the Reds. He will most certainly enjoy being back in the National League. But this Reds team can certainly put pressure on left-handed pitching. Wade Miley continues to find ways to get outs, which is actually impressive. His ERA sitting at 2.86. Advanced stuff has him higher, but it's nothing crazy. This total at 9 is interesting. Look, I know both pitchers have issues. Total seems a bit high for me, though. One thing to note is that the Reds are at least playing well, and the Reds have won quite a few in a row now. And this team is live, very live for their division after an extremely slow start, or a semi-slow start anyway. And now, they should be able to put enough pressure on Rich Hill. But Rich Hill, it's right. It's always the same thing, right? It's walks and home runs. If he can avoid those, you'd figure he'd be okay. Wade Miley is a little bit of a different pitcher, wants to get a lot of ground balls, pitch to contact. Overall, to me, this game is a coin flip. So the fact that the Reds are slight dogs would push me in favor of them a bit for this game. Their bullpen is woeful, though, and as is the Mets at times this year as well. So I'd argue for first five Cincinnati, especially if you get them at like plus 105-ish at your book as a lean. But that has more to do with, again, for me, this is a coin flip on so many fronts, especially first five. So overall, I would move the needle, if you will, towards the Reds. Now, next game up, Indians, White Sox, Dallas Keuchel, Tristan McKenzie. Tristan McKenzie continues to be a pitcher that struggles to find any levels of consistency in starts this season. I even watch him pitch, and it's not like there are certain pitchers I'll watch, and you could see like they have good stuff. Like I'll give you an example. Like Jorge Lopez is a guy that I consider to have good stuff, but he consistently can't locate it and consistently finds barrels because of those location issues. McKenzie's a little different. McKenzie, I watch him pitch, and I struggle to understand how this guy really gets outs. And I know that he pitched well in his last start against Tampa and wiggled himself out of a few jams and gave up a long ball. But can lightning strike twice for this? I don't know. It's hard to imagine. Again, with the eye test for me, him going back-to-back decent starts against good lineups. He's going to see a good lineup here in the White Sox on the road. And Dallas Keuchel. So Keuchel's 150 here, and that's high, all things considered. And again, this Indians team, while you might look at their full season stats and how poorly they are against left-handed pitching, they spend a lot of this season with a lot of their bigger right-handed bats out. Most of their big right-handed bats are back in. So I'd expect them to put more pressure on Keuchel here. Overall, total of 9 for this park isn't all that big. However, Bullpens for the White Sox, I've continued to say this White Sox pen is super good. I have them as the best in baseball. And the Cleveland bullpen isn't very good. So at least it's below average, slightly below average anyway. I would have a first 5 lean here in favor of the over. Total of 9, you're probably going to have to get 5, right? If 5 at even money. So you'd likely need 6 runs, which isn't really fun, to be honest. And maybe if you could, maybe target like White Sox first 5 over their team total, which might be 2-ish or 2.5. Overall, I do like the first 5 there to be runs. So call it if it's 5. I like it. Lean it over. This is completely more to do with McKenzie would have to throw good again against a good lineup, which the eye test for him, he just fails for me. And Keuchel is decent, but Keuchel is consistently in trouble. And Keuchel has severe walk issues. And again, this Indians team has pop from the right side now. A lot of guys back. So overall, call that a lean. And yes, Panda shirt says made to chill. What's up, Leroy, Aaron, Steve? Also, Steve's saying it's going to be Joe Ross for the Nats, which is fine. To me, Hendricks is still a better arm. So again, to me, the Cubs have no business being an underdog. To me, it's a complete overreaction from yesterday, right? Like I know the Cubs, everybody's down on the Cubs, and that's fine. It made sense yesterday with the Nats plus 110. It doesn't make much sense today, though. I mean, with Hendricks being plus 105, like to me, you kind of gotta slide over the other end and find value there instead. What's up, Princess Chachu? Cubs lineup. I mean, the Cubs lineup, Adam, is you're not gonna. It's going to be very similar to what you saw yesterday. It's going to be very similar to what you saw yesterday. And Vital's been unbelievable. 7 straight games with a homer. So yeah, I mean, if you're pitching now, if it's 2-0 to him now because you've missed your spot twice, I mean, that 2-0 pitch should not be anything close. Not with the way he's barreling up these days in terms of Vital. All right, so Cardinals Twins. Jake Woodford, Baylor Ober. These are 2 pitchers I personally do not have a lot of data on. And the Twins haven't been a team I've gotten right much this year either. The Cardinals haven't been a team I've bet much this year. But look, overall, this will just be a game I completely avoid. I don't want to waste your time. These are 2 pitchers, again, I have very little data on and very little want to back in any significant way here. So I'll just move on. Braves, Brewers, it's going to be my best bet. So Brewers, first 5, minus half a run. And that is minus 105 at DK. This game, this is a line to me that is wild in the least. I mean, Woodruff here should be – Woodruff first 5, laying a half run should be near 130 here. 105 is arguably a complete joke, in my opinion. Woodruff had a start last time out against Luis Castillo. Was it Luis Castillo or might have been Sunday Night Baseball? I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember. But he gave up a 2-run single to Lance Lynn. Now that I remember, it was against the White Sox on Sunday Night Baseball. Gave up a 2-run single to Lance Lynn, and that was 2 of the 3 runs he gave up. So it was an 0-2 pitch where he didn't think Lance Lynn would poke at it, and he did. Woodruff does not make these types of mistakes often. And now he draws a Braves lineup, which has been good, right, despite not having Acuna. But this price is just ridiculous. Now I know that Muller's been good, right? Muller's been good. Outside of his soft contact rate, which is 6%, his line drive rate's been good. There are some minor things, like his walk problems are something that he took with him from AAA right into the major leagues. His K rate's about where you'd expect it to be. He's got batting average on balls in play of 230, which is very low, and you'd expect that to only climb. It's also only given up 3% of home run to fly ball rate, or fly ball rate to home run of 3%, which is quite different than what it was like for him in AAA this year. Here we are for him at home in Atlanta. Expects to be somewhat warm. So ball should carry. And I know this Brewers lineup's degraded, right? I think that's part of why this line is what it is. No Yelich, and I think some other guys missing for the Brewers as well. But has it mattered? Like, have you guys seen what this team's done recently? 9 runs, 7 runs, 12 runs, 9 runs. This team is just slamming it with the sticks right now. Vogelback, which I guess isn't all that much, to be honest. So And remember, while they lost Yelich for a bit with injury, they did get Eduardo Escobar in the deadline. So I mean, that's a nice little increase for them. This team still has plenty of sticks, and they are really swinging the bats well. I can't play full game. Like, for instance, if this did drop to like $1.35, it would become an auto play for me, full game Brewers. But for me, I know Mueller, like I said, you look at Mueller's numbers and his advanced numbers, and he's been good. But man, at some point you have to kind of reference or reflect his AAA numbers and what they are, or what they've been. And you have to, at minimum, you'd be naive to not think he's been quite fortunate with how his starts have gone this year. And the Brewers should be able to put a ton of pressure on him, or at least more pressure than he's been. And Woodruff is just so consistent. I find this price, again, almost hard to believe. So for me, yeah, I'll happily lay first 5 here with the Brew Crew and Brandon Woodruff off a bounce back start for him against a pitcher who's a bit overvalued in the marketplace. I mean, this, again, if this line indicates more than anything that he's overvalued in this marketplace. So again, look, this could happen. And Chachi, I'm good at 115 as well. Because again, for me, it should be 130-ish. 105 at DraftKings is a joke. 115 to me is still 15 cents of value. And overall, to me, it's just a slam dunk price with Woodruff. He could get shelved in this spot specifically, or Mueller could throw really well again. But again, for me, a little bit of a perfect storm here. Little line swap movement. I get a team that sticks are just rocking the baseball right now as well. So happy to do that. All right, so Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Merrill Kelly. I don't know who's going for the Dodgers right now. Maybe you guys do. So yesterday I gave out for Rumpier Bets a team total over 3.5 for Diamondbacks. That was fairly sweat-free as they found a few runs multiple times in innings. And then they were able to hold down a lead late. I don't know how I could really cap this game without knowing who's going for the Dodgers. If you guys know it, I could start to talk on it. Christian Serrano, every bet I make is a flat bet, 1 unit, every bet. I'm not a 2, 5, 10, 20 unit guy or bankroll percentage guy. I find a bet that I'm comfortable losing with, and you find a number value that you're comfortable losing. And again, that's how I define a unit, right? To me, a unit is defined as a price value or a number value financially that you are comfortable losing. And again, for me, I like to flat bet everything as I find that works best for me. I get the guys that want to do 1 or 2% or 3% or 4% bankroll stuff, but again, if you're losing your 4% plays and you're dominating your 1% plays, I mean, you're losing money. To me, I get it. From especially from a Kelly criterion perspective too, right? You want to start maximizing, bet size for bets that you have super favorable. I get that, but overall, not anything. I'm just not a multi-unit guy like that. I flat bet everything. Okay, so you guys are saying Mitch White. So let me pull up just some surface stuff on the kid, who's not a kid actually. So decent, not bad. Really good in AAA. Decent numbers here thus far in the majors. Warranting of this 190 tag. I don't know. I know the Diamondbacks are hitting. That's what I do know. I know that they looked good yesterday. So to me, problem is now the total is 10. Total was not 10 yesterday. Total was 9. I think it closed 9.5. So total of 10 to me is that infliction or the overreaction kind of coming to a head and now being fair. So I won't go back to the Diamondbacks team total, if you will. You could argue for run line, but Merrill Kelly is just so tough to watch pitch that I wouldn't like that at all. I don't really like anything in this game either way, so I'll just stay away. And again, you could argue for under at 10 to be honest, because it's a big number for this park, especially with the humidor. But I'll just stay away. Padres Rockies, last but not least, Yu Darvish, Herman Marquez. Wow, total 7. Marquez has been excellent. I thought Marquez would be a guy that the Rockies would have wanted to deal. I know they should have probably dealt Story anyway, but I thought Marquez would go. He's been a good arm, and I feel like he would have been good for a playoff contender. I don't know if the Rockies weren't trying to trade him or if they were looking for too much, but he's good. He's been good. He pitches in Coors Field, which makes it difficult for him at times. but he's good. He's also been proven that he can pitch against American League teams as well. So to me, I don't know why the Rockies held on to him, but I guess that's for another day. Darvish, though, of course, another great season from him. He's been incredible. 3.27 is ERA. I think his advanced stuff actually has him lower. Padres are fighting a bit for their lives, though, in the NL West, right? Giants have been good. Obviously, the Dodgers are going to continue to be good. So they need to consistently keep winning games, and they made a few moves at the deadline, nothing major, in my opinion, anyway. I know they got Frazier, right? But other than that, so here, Darvish 200. I guess it makes sense. To me, overall, the total at 7 would mean the first 5 total is going to be 3.5, probably maybe even slightly dog money. I like that under. So I think that, first of all, Darvish has been good. I know the Rockies found some life with Sticks yesterday, but I mean, this lineup is still like, I don't love this play by any means, though, because both teams have just tremendous pop in their lineup, especially in the middle. Look, Blackman and Story are really good, especially in the middle of the Rockies lineup. Outside of that, there's not much of threat. The Padres have really no free outs or almost no free outs. So, but of course, this ballpark is a pitcher's park. And again, call it a slight lean. First 5 under 3.5. I don't love it, but that'll be where I'm looking. Overall, that I guess that wraps it up, guys. So my best bet, of course, like I said, Brewers first 5, lay the half run, minus 105 DraftKings. I'm good with that all the way up to 120, pending your book. But again, it is 105 at DK. So White Sox over 9, DMAC. I did reference that game. Where? So I did reference that. I preferred the first 5 over just because the White Sox bullpen is so good. But it wasn't a spot I absolutely love because I don't love. Well, you'll notice, guys, if you bet a first 5 team total of 9 and you bet that team total over, you can get 4.5 at heavy vig where 5 is. But again, if it you don't get, you're going to be losing out on a lot of vig if it doesn't get there. You could bet 5 at like even money, but then you need 6 runs to win in a first 5, which isn't really fun either. So while I do expect there to be runs, I don't exactly like. I don't love betting first 5 overs when the full game total is 9. I hope that makes sense. So thoughts on Astro Giants? I mentioned there, Chachu, that at the price, strong lean Astros. Overall, guys, thanks again for watching. I gave you my best bet. That'll be my contest play as well with my pops. So look, I hope you guys all have a successful day betting. There'll be a UFC show as well tonight with Keg and some of the crew as well. So check that out. Head over to check us out more at runpurebets.com. See what we're all about. Again, code BETS25 off gets you 25% off. With that code, it'll be, I believe, $45 for an entire month. You get all sports. You get our Discord. So again, give it a shot. I find it hard to believe you'd find any service like it relative to everything you get for the price. But again, either way, thank you for watching. Please like the video if you have not already. Subscribe to the channel if you not have already. And as always, folks, gamble responsibly. Okay, have yourself a good time today. Don't put yourself in any hot water or do anything unnecessary. And look, again, guys, thanks again for watching. Stay safe. And as always, folks, run pure. I'll see you tomorrow again with Joey and Holden running down another MLB breakdown. Okay, see you folks then.